The Democratic primary has moved much closer to a two-person race between a moderate, Joe Biden, and a progressive, Bernie Sanders. There have always been wings in political parties, but it's clear that this cycle, Democrats are once again asking themselves what type of party they want to be. Back in 2008, one word defined then-candidate Barack Obama's campaign, which was change. And progressives say that's exactly what they want right now, change. So why isn't change resonating as much today? Roshni Nedungadi is a partner at HIT Strategies, a polling and research firm that's focused on Democratic strategies. It's so nice to have you with me.
Thank you for having me.
So is it as simple as change versus centrists? Because on social media, sometimes it feels that way. There's these people want change and these people don't want change. They're centrists.
I don't think it's that simple this year, primarily because of Donald Trump. Democrats going to vote this year, you can see in the exit polls coming out of the early states that a majority of Democratic voters in some of these key swing states want a candidate who can beat Donald Trump. So it's not necessarily change versus status quo this year. There is an element of the need to beat Donald Trump that people are making their choices based on as well.
So what is the Democratic strategy here? Is it, listen, our plan is to figure out how to appeal to independents and to appeal to those moderates on the Republican side who might want to abandon Trump, grab those folks and bring them into the election? Or is the strategy to say, actually, how do we get those Bernie, Elizabeth Warren supporters and bring them into the tent?
I don't think that it needs to be an either or. I think that we saw in 2018 that it's really important to bring in more moderate, college-educated, white suburban voters. But I think it's also very important, as we saw in 2016, to maintain our base, maintain and expand our base of young voters, of people of color, to ensure that we have the margins in key swing states like Wisconsin, Florida, Pennsylvania, that we need to win the Electoral College.
If you look at Bernie Sanders in Oklahoma, he won the state of Oklahoma in 2016, Super Tuesday 2016. This time around in Super Tuesday, he lost the state of Oklahoma. What's happened to his support? Why is he losing ground or underperforming in 2020?
I was looking at this, and I think that a lot of it, again, can be attributed to the fact that people's priorities in Oklahoma, especially when you're looking at the exit polls, were to beat Donald Trump. They overwhelmingly chose Joe Biden as their candidate. I also think that there's an element of sexism that plays into it. Hillary Clinton did very badly there, and Joe Biden, who is running on a very similar platform, is doing much better than
Sexism?
she is. Yeah.
What? I'm shocked. Young people and turnout, certainly on social media, right? Young people over-index. You would think everybody under the age of 35 is marching to the polls every single caucus and primary. What actually happens? Do they vote?
That's not been the case in the last few early states. And we've seen over the past couple of years just a disillusionment in the political system among young voters, and the idea that voting, especially voting for a president, doesn't create the change that they want to see in their communities and in their neighborhoods. So I think that that's something that the Democratic Party is really going to have to focus on this year, is connecting young voters to Democratic candidates and the issues that they want to see and proving that they can make a change.
In 2019, CBS did a poll that found that among Democrats and independents, 31% described themselves as very liberal. Roughly the same number say somewhat liberal. Roughly the same number say moderate and conservative. How do you unite a party where, well, that's kind of all over the map?
Whoever comes out of this primary process is going to have to make some ideological compromises. If it's Joe Biden compromising on health care and climate change and really pushing those issues to the forefront. If it's Bernie Sanders maybe taking a step back on some of the radical things that he wants to do that push back on conservatives.
Roshni, thank you so much. Nice to chat with you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
When we come back,